Welcome to our 6th podcast. This podcast will be specialising in octopus. We are recording it on Remembrance Day, so I have some facts about Remembrance Day, but no facts about octopuses, because we've since realised that we basically just Google it and have the same facts. So we're working smart now. Just one person can do the facts. And
I did the facts.
Yeah, I had a look on the other podcast. I don't think there's anything to clear up.
There was.
Oh, was
One,
there?
Mussolini was hung off a street lamp after he was died.
I knew he was.
After he was killed by gunfire, and also his missus was hung up as well on a street light with him.
His missus, you say? Oh,
his
right.
missus, yeah. And you know, last week where Hugh said you can't be poor and evil.
Yeah.
Guess who spent time as a homeless person in Vienna?
Who?
Only the most evil person in history, Hitler. So that's that theory out the water, I do believe.
Yeah, but that's the point. When he was homeless, he wasn't evil, was he? He was only evil when he got the money. Nah, he only got the money when he was evil.
I think he was just...
Do you know what he did? Do you know what Hitler did? I read this. This might not be true. He, or was it Stalin? I think it was Hitler. He copywrote his image, and then because he was on stamps and shit and all of that, he got paid every time they used his image, which I thought was quite clever. Like when Gene Simmons did that with the bag of money. Did you hear that? No. You know the bag of money with the dollar sign on it? Gene Simmons wrote that. And so whenever it gets used, Gene Simmons gets money. He's nothing to do with it. He didn't come up with it or anything. He just noticed that nobody had copywritten it, so he did it himself.
We should do that. How do you copyright something?
Well, first you have to have the brilliant idea.
Right, but let's assume that we've got one, because I get loads of good ideas. I just don't have anything. I have no means of making them.
Did I ever tell you about the bimetallic plug?
I love your ideas. They're all shit. Let's hear this one.
They're not all shit. Some of them are brilliant. I'm just telling you the funny ones that aren't brilliant. They, when I was younger, I was living in a really, really cold house, and I wanted a way of my radiator coming on in the morning. So I sat down and I drew out like a whole plan. Yeah, I sat down, I drew it all out, I worked out how this was going to work, and then the plug would turn in here, and this thing would be clockwise, and it'll be clockwork, and it'll move, and when it hits a certain amount of time, it'll hit the bimetallic strip. The bimetallic strip will turn, and it'll touch, and it'll make the connection, and the connection will turn on, and I was like, this is amazing, I'm going to be a millionaire. I've worked out a way of plugs cover. You already know where this is going, don't you?
Yeah.
And then I looked in Argos, and they'd already made digital ones, and I had made this big clockwork 18th century piece of shit.
Had you actually made it?
No, I just planned it all out, and I worked it all out. But it took ages, and I was like, I was genuinely sort of, this is going to be the biggest thing that ever happened. Right.
Also, there's this thing called central heated, and that you can set that to come on at a certain time.
No, I was living in like a shared flat, and there was no. That's why my flat was freezing. There was no central heating. It was freezing, yeah? So it was all based on those little radiator things, and I wanted it to come on before I got out of bed, and that was my big plan. You could just buy them in Argos for like £9 or something like that. And I just thought, oh, what a waste of time.
Did you get one?
No. I moved out. I got kicked out of that flat by a mad Scottish woman who was very depressed.
Here are all the thoughts and things that have happened to us since last week in a section we like to call thoughts and things that have happened to us since last week's section.
Outside the Cross Keys is really hard to park, yeah? I pulled up outside, and there was a really tiny space, right? So I tried to manoeuvre back into this space, right? And then the bouncer was watching me. He's watching me. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, if you clip a car, you're
so
going
I
to have
got
to
out of the
up.
car, and it was playing really loud, freaky styly, and I opened the door, and he looked at me, and he said, "Are you in the band?" And I went, yeah, I am. And he went, "I'll just move my car forward." And he moved his car forward. I was like, brilliant, I'll be able to park in this space now. And I started parking, and I still couldn't park because of the angle I had come at for the small space. And then they watched me, and then the other bouncer went, "I'm going to move my car." And he moved the car behind me as well, so they made a massive space, right?
Were you in the Toyota?
And I was in the Toyota, and I tried to park, and I was still parking like a spaz. I still couldn't do it. They were both watching me to the point where he took out his phone and started filming me. I thought, I can't have this going on Facebook, so I just reversed and I did it. But it was really, they were really friendly bouncers though. They were really nice. They gave us permits to park in, and that put me in a good mood because it was right outside, and we put all of our stuff in. It was just very pleasant, the whole thing.
Did I tell you about that time I was trying to get into a tight space in a car park? It was really, really, really busy. I was down at Park Towie in town. It was like around Christmas time. I was in the Toyota, and it's a small car, right? And there was somebody trying to get into this space, but because I'd come from a different angle, I did the dickhead thing, and I totally took it, right? And there were two other cars waiting, and I just nipped in as the other person was reversing out. But it was a very tight spot, and I couldn't get it in, so I had to keep sort of backing up and trying again, as these two people in these cars were watching me. Obviously, I'd just stolen this space from them, and I'm in, out, trying to get in, and then in the end I had to give up and drive away. It was so embarrassing. I thought it's okay if I can style it out on park, I'll just walk away going, ha, losers. But I couldn't get in, and it wasn't even like a particularly tight spot. I'm just rubbish at parking.
And I'm good at parking. If I see the space and I make a decision, I'm going to park in there, and I angle the car correctly. The problem with parking at the Cross Keys was I had angled the car for the tiny space, so when they had moved the cars, I was still in that tiny space thing, and then it didn't kind of work anymore because there was more space. So, but yeah, it was nice anyway. It was nice that we played, and I liked playing there. It was good. I haven't played there before. It's much bigger than I imagined.
Had you never been in before?
No. Why would I go to the Cross Keys?
Why wouldn't you?
Because I don't tend to drink, and it's full of like quite old people, isn't it? It's like
I quite like it in there.
Yeah, it's nice place, isn't it? It's like no sign or something like that.
I'm not an old people.
No, it's like a pub, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's a really nice building, isn't it? From the outside, it's probably nice and old.
Yeah, and they've got special parking spaces around the back. And where else did I play? Oh, and I played in another pub where it was really weird. It was like one of them beef eater pubs. So there's people sitting around eating their food, like having a family thing.
Yeah.
And then there's also a huge gang of proper pissheads. So we were playing, and there were people dancing on tables and stuff like that. Like literally dancing men dancing on tables, yeah. And dancing about, and people just eating like a steak and kidney pie, like a couple of tables away from them, which I thought was kind of weird as well.
That is a weird mix.
What?
That is a weird mix.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, so that's really the only thing that's happened to me. I saw, when I was playing, because that's the only time I see anything now, is when I was playing, I saw a man threatening a woman on Wine Street, a man wearing like a quirky suit, like a suit made out of like, I don't know, London Underground maps or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was holding this woman, just holding her, and she was trying to get away, and she was stumbling and getting away, and he was just like holding her up, and as her legs were going from under her, he was still like holding her in the air and stuff. And then people started to sort of surround the two of them, and stand and watch, and we were watching, just going, what the fuck's that? And then and it went on for like 10, 15 minutes, and all the CCTV cameras, they were all pointing at them.
Maybe it was a clever diversion.
Well, I just thought to myself, surely, if all these CCTV cameras are pointing at this man holding a woman and this woman trying to escape, the police who are up and down this road would be here in a minute. They didn't. The cameras just followed them round as he was just dragging her around. So this is terrible.
Was he being threatening? Because he might have just been helping her
no,
stay on
he
her
was
feet.
proper threatening.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
And then some guy came up to me and said, "Oh, somebody should do something, shouldn't they?" And I was like, well, "What are you going to do?"
Not me.
And he was like, and he was all like a rugby, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to do something then." And he walked over and did nothing. And I thought, what are you telling us for? We're not impressed.
Kerry, one time, when this is years and years ago, back when we were at uni, he witnessed a man being a bit mean to a woman while out on a night out. So he went over to say, like, come on, pal, leave her alone, like. And they both turned on him, both of them, the woman as well. Like, how dare you tell my boyfriend what to do?
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yep. So lessons learnt there. Just don't get involved if it's a domestic. That's probably why the police weren't getting involved, because they knew that they wouldn't get any thanks for helping.
Well, he was very big and she was very small. So, did anything else happen to me? I bought some jeans.
Yeah.
Paid £30. Never do that. I never do.
No. Are they nice jeans? Are they the jeans you're wearing now?
No.
No. Oh. Too nice to wear, are they?
No, they're like this, but they're grey. And I saw them, and they were.
You like grey?
I do like grey, grey and black. That's where it is. Look, these are the boots I dyed.
Ah.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, I quite like them actually.
Yeah,
they're very bad. When you do your pictures, they all have feet like that.
I know.
It's like you're wearing it's like art imitating life.
Yeah. draw everything in aspirational terms.
Yeah,
This is what I like to look like.
They all have slightly bell-bottomy sort of jeans on and those big shoes.
That's right. Because, that's the way I like it. But I'm beginning to think, like I said to you before, I'm beginning to think like I must look like those people that I used to think when I was a kid are from the 70s. There must be kids wearing their skinny jeans looking at me going, look at him and his flares. I'm not even wearing flares,
They're not
but because
flares.
I'm not wearing skinny jeans, they must look at me in the same way.
So what have I been doing today? George got chicken pox.
Oh.
So he's been off school.
Oh.
He's fine though. He's fine himself. He's happy enough, and because he was ill 2 weeks ago, during half term. So I think he was ill then, and now he's got chicken pox. But you wouldn't know it to look at him because he doesn't have many on his face or anything. They're just all on his chest and his legs.
I fell down the stairs when I was a kid with chicken pox and ripped them all off.
You ripped him off.
Yeah, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them.
Just to the bottom of the stairs with lots of spots on the floor.
Yeah, I just ripped them off, ripped all my skin.
Ouch! That sounds painful.
I can't remember, it was ages ago. The only thing I do remember is falling out of a tree. I fell out of a tree. No, hang on, two things happened. I climbed a tree, went over to the next door's garden when we lived in London, and they had a swimming pool, and they had a swimming pool cover on it, and I didn't know what that was, and the tennis ball was on top of it, and I assumed it was hard, and I walked onto their swimming pool covering, and obviously it just fell into the pool, and I got wet, and I got out of the pool, ran across, climbed the fence, climbed back up the tree, fell out of the tree, hit all the branches on the way down, went back in. You know what my mum did?
What?
You stupid boy! Picked up a stick, started beating me. I can't believe you did this! I can't... Terrible.
Did you get your ball back though?
No, I was terrified, man. They had big dogs over there. I thought, I thought I was only going to whip out and grab the ball and run back. Now I'm in the middle of their garden. I've fucked up their pool. Oh, it's terrifying.
Oh, that's a funny story though.
Oh, good, thanks.
At least it was worth it, eh? Now up to 100 people have listened to that now.
It's good. The weird thing is they're all people we know. Like, I find myself, like Ben in work with me now. He's listening to the podcast.
Ben!
I've only got so many stories to tell him, and I can see in his face, it's like, yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah, I heard about the time. Gonna have some new shit happened to you. Come back and tell me about that.
So,
Did you tell him about the time you tried walk dog shit into someone's house?
No, but he already knew. He knows all these things now. Yeah, what else you done?
I went to
Childhood
the
chicken pox. What else has happened?
Well, because he was off school, I had to be off work for 2 days, so that was kind of nice because I got to hang out with George all day. I took him to the new Starbucks. I asked the kids if they wanted to go to Costa or Starbucks, the new one. They decided that they wanted to go to Starbucks, and we had a hot chocolate. Oh, they had a hot chocolate, I had a coffee. I got back into cross-stitch and some embroidery.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so I've dragged out my sewing kit, which is like a 3-foot tall toolbox about this big. And when I had a good look through it, I got like everything in there, like everything. I can't believe how much sewing stuff I've got, and it was just so exciting. It's like being given a new hobby. I got some more face paints the other week. I haven't used them yet because no one wants me to paint their faces, so I've got no one to practice on. I've just been to the wetlands centre this morning, feeding the birds. It's just been cold and raining though, hasn't it? So I've been spending a lot of time in the house doing sewing because it's just cold and rainy.
What are you sewing? Are you sewing that stuff that's like rude?
Well, I was doing just practicing stitches for the embroidery because last time I got into embroidery I just kind of made it up as I went along, but this time I've actually been learning the legitimate ways of making all the stitches, like chain stitch and back stitch and loop stitch and the lazy daisy stitch and the blanket stitch and all that. I've actually been learning those, so I've spent a bit of time doing that. And then the cross stitch is where you do the rude things. So I started doing one. It wasn't rude, but I've been drawing alphabets on squared paper. So I've got all these different fonts now that I can use. Spent a lot of time doing that, sadly. Fonts are hard though, coming up with like a new font or, a font that you can use. It's really difficult. So I did that. And then I thought, right, I'll do a cross stitch. And I had a sort of plan. He was gonna say retro as fuck in like a retro-y font that I'd done. And I was going to do a picture of a cassette on there and a couple of other retro-y type things.
Nah, you should be doing stuff to make money from morons. should be writing stuff like, "You thought Brexit was great. How wrong you were." Or whatever them smug people on Facebook said. "We're all going to be eating one cornflake after Brexit," and make one of them. And those people be like, "Yes, this is exactly what I need." or "Trump is the worst person in the world ever. He should burn in hell." Make that as a cross stitch. And somebody be like, "Oh, this is what I've been thinking all my life. I'll buy this."
There is actually someone that already does that. Not that type of stuff, like, better. She's called the Cross Stitch Bitch. I follow her on Instagram, and it's actually Kimberly's friend. Yeah, she does like rude cross stitches, but they're pretty good, and I think she makes a bit of money off it. But it's so time consuming that it has to be fun, because if you charged per, if you decided, right, this skill is worth £15 per hour, you'd be charging like $5,000 for a little shitty cross stitch.
Yeah.
Because it takes such a long time.
Anyway, the other thing that I've discovered, which has bummed me right out, is
Yeah.
remember that big bet I was going to put on? Remember that? I was going to bet on that transsexual Miss Universe transgender.
Oh, they didn't, did they?
No, well, it hasn't happened yet. It's December the 17th. But my sure thing that I was going to whomp a pile of money on, because I was like, this transsexual, she's going to win regardless. She could look like anybody, but because she's transgender, she's going to win. They've got 2 bloody transgenders now, haven't they? That's cocked the whole thing up for me.
So you've got to pick one?
Well, no. I reckon they've just got 2 transgenders so that neither of them will win. And then they can say, well, it's not because of transgender, because there was another one. It was Miss Mongolia and Miss Spain. So... it's nothing bad against us. Whereas if there'd only been one, there'd be a big backlash on social media or whatever, and they'd have to do it. So I was right up for that. But now there's 2 of them. That's the end of that. And I also discovered there's a woman called Fallon Fox. Have you heard of this woman?
I have not.
She's a transgender, fighter, and they've
like
allowed her to fight.
Fighter as in...
Fighter, like an MMA fighter or whatever it is, yeah? And now she's allowed to be in the women's thing.
So she was born a man, she's now a woman, and she gets to beat up women.
Yep, that's right. Yep, I know. And she
I bet
broke
she
some
wins.
woman's skull. Broke some woman's skull and give her concussion.
What's her name? I'm gonna have to watch this woman
Fallon
fighting.
Fox. Yeah, you can watch it happen. You can watch it as she breaks her skull.
I mean,
open.
I'm not particularly interested in seeing her break someone's skull, but I do wanna. I wanna watch this for next week.
It's just insane, though, isn't it? It's just insane. She's gonna let this big trained male athlete with lipstick fuck up some woman, and everybody's gonna watch.
Fallon Fox.
I thought it was bizarre. Oh yeah, and our third member of our podcast isn't here because he rubbed his head in fox shit.
That'll be Rufus then, yeah?
Yeah, so I would allow him in. So
good. Well, thanks. I mean, if he's covered in fox shit, I'd rather him not be here, because he does tend to sit with me, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't really fancy.
Well, you're on the settee.
What
What else have I discovered? What else has happened? I noticed on Facebook that Peter Jackson is doing a documentary with colour war footage. I find that very exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah, because when it's black and white, it does just look like Charlie Chaplin films, doesn't it? And as soon as you make it into colour and slow it down slightly, all of a sudden you see proper real people are standing in holes for months on end shooting people. You go, that's fucking bizarre. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that.
Is that out soon? Is it on Netflix? Where can we watch this documentary?
You are?
Where can we watch this documentary? Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. It's Peter Jackson, though. And I also decided that men that take selfies of themselves and post them on Facebook, there's something wrong with them.
What about women that do that?
I don't mind with women so much, But with men, there's no reason for you as a man to post constant photos of your own face. And they're not even different. At least with women, they have made some sort of effort with their face.
No,
so their hair is
filter.
different, or their makeup is different, or they're in a different situation, or something is different about their face. But men are just literally taking photos of their face and putting it up.
Honestly, I'm not. I don't think I can name one guy from my Facebook or Instagram that does that a lot.
I know one in particular.
Oh, actually, no, there is. Yeah, actually, yeah. Sorry.
I know one in particular. And there's constant photos of his face, and they're always the same distance away from his face.
Do I know this person?
No.
Oh.
But it's always the same distance away from his face, and it's always the same photo. It's like, it's just one of it's just like he's taking, those people that take photos of themselves like every 6 weeks to show them growing older. It's like that. Yeah, the only thing that's changing is his jumper. But his face is exactly the same. You just think, why are you doing this? Why do you want likes for your face Oh, Facebook. I don't use Instagram.
You used to be on Instagram. You've
I
got
had
an
it on my
account.
phone, didn't I? But now I've got a shit phone. I don't.
Well, get a new phone. I miss you on Instagram. I like Instagram. You miss all my best things if you're not on Instagram. All my best shit's on Instagram. I've been using Instagram way more than Facebook recently.
Yeah, well, what are you putting up on Instagram?
Pictures of my face.
I'll get right on that.
It's just wall-to-wall selfies. Same angle, same filter, same expression, this one.
No, you do.
My photo face.
You've got a blue background, haven't you, whenever you take photos of your face?
Yeah, because I usually, if I take a lot of pictures of my face, if you look on my phone, there's lots of pictures of my face put in different faces for drawing reference, and I'll sit there and I'll just draw them.
That's
but
a lie.
I do sometimes post them on Instagram as well, but I stand behind the curtain in my kitchen because it's a nice, bright but plain background.
Well, I don't mind selfies. I just don't understand why you need to post them. Don't understand. I don't mind as a woman. Yeah, post your face. It's brilliant.
If you look on my Instagram, you'll see a lot of pictures of me and the drawing of me as well, side by sides. Sometimes I just post the drawings, and sometimes I just post the selfies, Rob.
Well,
but there is more to my Instagram than just selfies.
Well, I find it very... Unless your best stuff is it, selfies.
No, I don't know. No, just all my best stuff's on Instagram, Rob, all of it.
Oh, maybe if I sort my phone out. But my phone broke after an update, and I felt proper conned. So I've got an S6. I've got two S6s, and they both don't work after an update. And I went through Google, and I did all that faffing around that you think, oh, I'll fix it at home. But it did nothing. Nothing happened. So I just got a shit Windows phone off my daughter. So...
Treat yourself.
No.
Why?
I did that with the jeans. I still feel
Oh.
a bit guilty about that. Did I really pay £30 for jeans just because they were grey in the right shape? Did I really do that?
Do you like them? Have you tried them on?
I do like them.
Well then, treat yourself.
No.
30 quid, Rob. You're working all the time. You've had your redundancy pay, I assume, by now. I don't feel bad about spending £30.
Oh, we just put that straight into the mortgage. Just went
right.
poof, poof, done.
Oh.
Yeah,
You're not worried
no.
about like early repayment fees and stuff, and then end up spending more just because you paid it off quicker.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. There's something... Joe worked it out. But
She works at a bank anyway, so she knows all that kind of stuff, doesn't she?
I find it the bane of my life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mine's really cheap.
It's if I didn't have a mortgage, I could literally go back to hobbying and just playing in the band.
No, because if you weren't paying a mortgage, you'd be paying rent.
No, but I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, like, if you paid off the mortgage,
Oh, right, okay.
then
okay,
that
yeah.
would be gone. You know,
Oh.
you wouldn't need to find that money every week, and there wouldn't be the constant threat of people turning up to take your house away. The worst that would happen is you might not get to eat as many sausages. You just
I
calm
imagine
down
your
for that
mortgage
week
is
if you
probably
haven't
a bit
earned
bigger
that
than
money.
mine.
You are?
I imagine your mortgage is a bit bigger than mine.
Yeah, I think it is.
Mine's really cheap. If I couldn't afford to rent my own house, the next door, which is exactly the same as my house, just not as done up inside, that rents for £550 a month.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, wow, my mortgage is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
I thought, fuck, I couldn't have. I mean, I could afford to rent my own house, but I'd struggle. I might worry about finding that money. I don't know.
Yeah, see, life
Well,
is hard.
If for example I was made redundant, I'd be like, oh shit, how am I going to pay my rent?
Yeah.
But because my mortgage is so cheap, it's really not a big deal.
Well, good for you,
yeah,
Nadine.
I know. I'm glad that when we bought the house, we bought something that we could afford rather than something that was nice. Because we could have got a much nicer house.
Well, it's
but
very
we would have
important
been
to me to buy a
struggling.
detached house.
Yeah.
That was my main agenda.
You know what was important
You know
for
why?
me? For the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have a PA in my house. I don't have a stereo. I've got a PA.
Well, like a personal assistant.
Yeah. And she hangs around and sings really loudly.
So what is a PA?
It's a public address system. So when you go to see gigs and you see them speakers on the side of the stage, that's a PA.
Oh,
so I've got that
wow.
with a little cable that comes out of it, and I plug it into the computer or I plug it into the phone, and then I play music stupidly loud. So if we were standing in the same room, we wouldn't be able to hear each other talk. That's how
Why?
loud because I love it. I love the volume. You know, like people like sound quality?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about that. It's volume I want. I just want it to be so loud that it moves bits of your body as you... Like, I love it. So, and you can't do that when you've got another house stuck on the side of you.
No,
and I had a
not
friend
really.
who had a neighbour who worked nights, and she used to play her acoustic guitar. Yeah, you know what acoustic guitar is, yeah?
Yeah, a wooden one.
A wooden one, yeah. She used to play her wooden guitar, right, in her own house, and this woman would bang the walls.
Oh.
You go, fuck that, well, acoustic guitar, imagine not being able to make that kind of noise. Oh, no. So that was the main agenda, was to get a detached house, no matter what it looked like or whatever, just as long as it wasn't connected to anybody.
Well, it's it's important that you get what you want though when you're buying a house. It's a big investment. I really wanted a garage, and I wanted to be able to get from the back of my house to the front of my house without going through the house. For like bins, or if you wanted to bring things in from the garden. Because the house that we rented, you had to go through the house, so you'd leave your bins in the back because there was nowhere at the front to leave them. And then on bin day, you had to pick them up from outside and carry them through the house. It was awful. So I didn't want that kind of drama. And I wanted my front door to not be on a public path. I wanted a bit of space between my front door and the public road.
Yeah, I noticed.
And I wanted a cul-de-sac as well. And I got all of those things.
There were some people that were kids, when they get drunk and all of that, wandering around, and on the main road where Hal lives, they're just banging windows as they walk past.
It's awful.
Oh, I couldn't deal with that at all. I'd be really annoyed.
So I was surprised to get everything that I wanted, and massively under budget. So I was quite happy.
I like where you live.
It's very quiet where I live.
Yeah. I tell you what I have noticed, though, a lot more.
What?
Kids smoking weed. Like, everywhere. Like, I walk around, I smell it everywhere.
Smoking's not fun anymore. It's not cool anymore to smoke. So, but smoking weed, I don't think that'll ever go out of fashion. Canada!
Young people, like, really young, like 13, 14, and I'm at that age in my life where I think now, should I go and give them some advice?
Don't roll it like that.
Explain to them how much this will cost.
Yeah, I'd just stay out of it. But Canada recently made marijuana legal.
Yeah, they sold out in the first day, didn't they?
Yeah, which was obviously expected. You would expect that.
I don't understand why they don't do that with Brexit. I don't understand why they don't just make it legal. And then you'd have this amazingly safe country where you could just get stoned and loads of tourists would come over, and then that would fill this massive Brexit gap.
I'll be honest, I think making it legal is going to just be a thing now. I think it's just going to slowly become legal everywhere. No, because Canada's really storming ahead, aren't they?
No, but they're progressive, aren't they? We're not really that progressive. Or they do lots of crazy things and call it progressive. Do you know Dundee Council have stopped all their council workers from smoking during the day, during work hours, no matter
even
where
on
they
a
are?
break?
Yeah. That's insane. I don't think
I'm sorry,
you can do
if you're on a break and you're out and you're allowed
and you're not
to
getting
go
paid
outside,
for your break,
why can't you have a cigarette?
I don't know, but that's what they're trying to do. I would just sue them if I was one of them people. How can they do that?
Yeah, I mean,
But they would consider themselves progressive.
I mean, I'm not a smoker, and I'm not like, ooh, smokers' rights, but I'm sorry, if you're on a break, and if you can go outside during your break, why, whose right?
Because these people are hysterical, Nadine.
Who's got the right to say, I'm sorry, this is your time, but you've got to use it doing what? It's like when they made us go for that breakfast at work, and they took our break off us.
Oh.
Yeah, and they were like, well, yeah, but you've got like an hour and a half to go and have... But I don't want to go for fucking breakfast. I want 15 minutes where I don't have to talk to any of you people. I want to sit at my desk and sulk for 15 minutes and play on my fucking phone and get a coffee. But anyway, I got my break because they succumbed.
Because you went and sat on your own in the rest. No, just taking me break.
No, I got a break before we went for the breakfast. I still had to go for the breakfast.
Oh, I don't mind people taking me for breakfast. Doesn't really matter.
But to take your time off you for a company...
I don't know, I don't mind. Even if somebody I didn't particularly like said to me, I'll take you out for breakfast, I go, all right.
Well, I'm not so easily bought by breakfast foods. I was fuming about the break. I wasn't happy.
Also,
we got our breaks anyway.
Also, I noticed on Facebook there was a daycare in Minnesota, in Missouri, which set up a fight club between like 4 and 5-year-old kids. Did you see that?
No, because no one was talking about it. It's the first rule.
It was in 2016. I thought that was bizarre.
That's pretty cool, though. I wonder if they took bets and things on which kids would win.
They probably did.
Yeah, if I was working in a daycare and there was an illegal underground fight club, I'd be taking bets on that.
I would never work in a daycare, and I would never become a primary school teacher. How terrifying is that whole thing where you're surrounded by... Remember that kid, right? Did I tell you this? Right?
I don't know.
There was a kid that I was teaching drums to, yeah? And I've constantly got tea, yeah? Right, yeah. Well, I had just made a cup of tea just before the lesson, and he came in, he was about, 8 or 9 or something like that.
He didn't drown in your mug, did he?
No, he was wearing Crocs, right? And I put the tea well out of the way, right by the bass drum, like out of the way, yeah? And he walked in, and the first thing I said to him was, "Watch that tea." And he went, "What tea?" And he kicked it, right? And because it's boiling hot, and he's wearing Crocs and nothing else, yeah, burnt his foot. And as it happened, it went in slow motion for me. I thought, "Oh, I'm never gonna be able to teach anybody again," right? And he was like, "Ah!" And he started crying and stuff. And his
How old was he?
8, 9, something like that, yeah.
That
And his mum came in, and I thought, I'm in so much trouble, right? And she pulled off his croc, and she pulled off his sock, and his foot was all red.
Hang on, he
and
was
shit.
wearing Crocs and socks.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
He's only
he
little.
deserved to get burnt.
Yeah, well, but that sounded like a poem. Then he pulled off his croc, and he pulled off his sock, and his foot was all red, and blistered, and fucked. And I started to panic. I was just like, inside when you decide to panic, like when something really bad has happened. And then she just said, "Don't worry about him. He does this kind of thing all the time." And I was like, "Oh." But
Have you got public liability insurance?
I was in the shop, yeah, at the time. So yeah, but I just couldn't believe it. It was just so stupid. Watch out for that. What this? Just kicked it on himself, and it was boiling hot.
Oh.
So it's terrible. So I just hold the tea now.
Yeah.
But I could have been on Facebook and everything.
Yeah.
Martin Clues was on Facebook for parking
Drum
in a
teacher
motorcycle
in
space.
Swansea scolds kid.
Yeah, it's like that woman that just got tasered in the eye. Did you see that?
In the eye.
She got tasered in the eye, right? And there was no story with it. It was woman. The only part of the story was woman left her friend's house and rang the police for a lift home, as she had often done on a Monday, and there was a misunderstanding, and then police tasered her in the eye, and all of the comments underneath were like, "Oh, that's dreadful, blah blah blah," because everybody's just taking it as read that the police are like the Hells Angels. They just turn up and fuck people up, and you're just like, that can't have happened. Why is she ringing the police for a lift home? Who rings the police for a lift home? As she had done many times before. Who consistently rings the police and goes, "Yeah, I had my fun time. I want to go home now. Come pick me up." The fuck does that? So I didn't buy into this straight away.
Are you
And
sure
then
other police people might ring up and go, "If no one's busy, I could do with a lift
I
home."
didn't even think they do that. That's like, the police are in need, aren't they? You can't just ring them up for a lift.
No, they're not taxis.
So that blew me away. And then the fact that it just said misunderstanding, and all the comments people, they hadn't taken into account what that misunderstanding might have been. She had a misunderstanding where she was trying to stab him, but she was missing. What the fuck? So I got really annoyed at that as well. But they tasered her in the eye.
What happened to her eye? Did it like
It's
explode?
all swollen and fucked, and I
assume she's
going to be
blind.
blind in it now.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't know what was the misunderstanding. Did you see there was another video on Facebook where there was a guy standing in front of a woman just going, they're going to shoot me. They're going to shoot me. And she's going, just lie down and just do what they say. Just do what they say. It's not worth dying over. And they're going to shoot me. And basically what had happened, right, is he had a knife. And the knife was in the video, clearly on the floor. There's 2 policemen standing there going, lie down now. You're going to have to lie down. I'm going to have to shoot. You just go, well, fucking lie down, mate. What are you doing standing around? Just going, this is police brutality. You had a knife. You're wandering around with a knife. All the comments underneath, poor guy, can't even carry a knife these days or whatever. Fucking blew me away. So I didn't understand that either. So I stopped myself getting involved in these arguments.
PC world gone mad where you can't even walk around with your weapons on display anymore.
Yeah.
Without being told to lie down or get
just
shot.
don't understand. All these people that seem to be like talking about police harassment or whatever, they're actively running away. They're actively fighting the police. That girl in Accrington. And everybody was saying, blah, 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 what about it? Well, he shouldn't be manhandling her. She's trying to get away. He's caught her. How is he going to not catch her by not grabbing her?
Yeah, I mean, I think pushing her head against the thing was a bit much. I think that was a crossing the line.
She was fighting him!
But she needed to be restrained, and everyone stood around shouting and screaming, and they weren't doing anybody
People keep
any,
talking about
any
men
favours.
like they're supermen. Like, he didn't need to push her head against the window. What man skill would he have used to avoid all of her blows, still keep hold of her? I mean, what's he going to do? He's not like a... I don't understand. I'm not on the side of all of these videos. If something looks terrible, then I am on the side of it. But remember, there was another video, wasn't there, where there was a guy in a parking lot, and he was just running away from the policeman. He was just running away until he ran out of breath, and then he went, okay, you got me. And he went, what the fuck?
I did see one really awful video, and I've seen it on Reddit. I must have seen it like 5 times. It just comes up every now and again when anybody's talking about police brutality. This kid is just walking through campus, right? It's an American video, and he's done nothing wrong, apparently, right? I mean, I don't know the backstory, but he's just literally just walking through campus. The police are there for something else. The policeman drags him to the ground, right? Pushes him down. He's on his front, and he puts his arm up behind his back, and then he purposely breaks his arm.
Yeah,
and it's horrible.
I'm not on the side of that.
Horrible.
I'm not on the side of that at all. You know,
and
I
does
think
it
that'd
so
be wrong. I might be
casually
one
as
of the
well.
people under the comment section going, "This is terrible." Blah 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 blah.
But the way he breaks it, he does it so casually, like he's done it 100 times before. Like he knows this technique that will break his arm without any effort, and it'll do it quick. And it's just I'll try and I'll try and find it, and if I do, I'll put a link to it on the page.
Yeah, I told you about when I was arrested, didn't I?
When you were arrested?
Yeah, I told you that. Wasn't that on one of these podcasts? I'm worried now about these podcasts.
In case you keep repeating your story. I
tell
don't
the same shit over and over again. Have I told you about the pain in my leg? And how much I work? Yeah, Rob. Every fucking episode so far. I thought it was something new.
I don't think you've told us about the time you got arrested.
Didn't I?
I can tell you about the time I got arrested when we're done.
If it's on another one, I'll edit it out. It was Christmas Day, and I went to the garage to buy some fags, and I was driving a Rover 214, right? It's just like a shit old car, right? So I drove to the garage, I got some fags, I came back, I was driving, and I forgot to turn my headlights on. I got to the crossroads, and there was a police car in the left-hand lane, and a car in the right-hand lane. So I didn't know where to go, yeah? Because that's my way home, and why are they both in the car? So I went past him, right? So I turned, and I thought, oh, maybe it's an ambulance or something, because it was raining and shit. And I thought, maybe it's like an ambulance. So I just went round him and mounted the curb slightly, yeah, to get round him. I went incredibly slow. I went at like 1 mile an hour, right, to get past him, yeah? And then I passed him, and I was still driving slow, thinking to myself, you know, maybe I've done the wrong thing or the right thing. I won't speed off or whatever. I'll just drive just to see if anything happens. And then I saw all these blue lights and stuff, and I thought, oh, I wonder what's happened. There's something, must be like a terrorist or something. Something's happening. So I'm still driving slow, yeah? And then I saw a policeman run up by the side of my car, and I thought, oh, he's come to alert me as to what's going on, yeah?
The danger.
Right? And I turn my head, I'm listening to Radio 4, so it's like, I don't know, whatever it was, you know, some shit play or something like that, you know, oh, Alfie, have you bought the soap powder? I have bought the soap powder, blah, blah, blah. I'm listening to that, and I'm all relaxed and stuff, and it's Christmas Day, yeah? I look out the window, think, oh, this guy's come to tell me what's happening around here, and he smashed my window, right?
He smashed your window?
Yeah, he smashed my window, right? And then he jumped into the car, and he pulled off my seatbelt, right, and then he pulled that out, and then
he planted all those drugs.
No, then he dragged me out of the window, right? So the car's still sort of
You've definitely not told us this before.
The car's like half moving, right? Still sort of, you know, moving. You know, like when you're in first gear and you take your feet off the pedals, it still goes forward.
Yeah.
It's still moving, right? And he's gripped me and he's pulled me out of this smashed window, right? And I'm with Radio 4, which is really loud as well. Because you know how I listen to Radio 4 really loud because I can't hear it otherwise, yeah? So you can still hear this play going on as I'm getting pulled out. He pulls me out onto the floor and he pushes me down on the floor, and then he pushes my hand behind my back, and then the other one, and then he handcuffs me, and then he puts his knee on my back, right? And there's flashing lights, and he shouts, he's like, I don't understand what the fuck he's talking about, right?
Because he's not loud enough.
Yeah. And then he sort of picks me up by my hands, right? So it's really and then he picks me up, he drags me into this car, like drags me down the road into the car, and they chuck me in the back of this car, and of this police car, and I'm sitting in the back of this police car, and there's two of them now, and they're both shouting, they're like, what are you doing, blah, 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 blah. And then he pulls out this breathalyzer, and he goes, breathe into this, breathe into this, breathe into it, and I just, right, and then they both immediately stop and go, you haven't been drinking anything. And I went, I know.
I've just been driving.
I tried to buy some fags. And they both go like that. They both go, oh, we're going to have to de-arrest you now. And then they both went really calm and started talking about the de-arrest procedure and stuff like that. Do you understand what's happening? And I'm like, yeah, I got you, yeah. And then it's like, and you can take us to court if you want to because we broke the window and you might get it back. And I was like, no, it's no problem, officer. I understand. You're just doing your job. Yep, it could have been anybody. Yeah, it's totally me. My fault. Sorry about that. And they just unhandcuffed me, and I got back in my car with my smashed window, and the car was now on the pavement, like facing a wall, because it had just rolled off, right? Well, this had happened. Just got back in the car, and just drove off.
That's so weird.
And people always say, like, well, why didn't you fucking fine them or something? But who wants to be an enemy of your local police? Fuck that.
True. So, at least, like, if ever you get arrested for anything, are you the copper that smashed my car window and that dragged me out on Christmas Day? On Christmas Day!
Remember how cool I was before? Remember I didn't have a knife or anything? I know I've got a knife now, right? But it's over there. It's on the floor. It's fine. I've only got one knife.
And I haven't been drinking again.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just all really bizarre. And that was the time when I was arrested. It was bizarre.
The only time you've been arrested?
Yeah, no. Yeah, because I'm always really friendly to policemen. They come over and they say, "What are you doing?"
I pay your wages, mate.
No,
nice evening.
Well, then my friend did that before, which I thought was hilarious. He was walking down the street, and he's not my friend now. And he was walking down the street, and he was all like, "Yeah, fucking, I'm gonna," because he's northern. Hey, fucking, I'm pissed and fucking, yeah. And as he's walking down the street,
that's what all northerners do.
And then the policeman pulled up, and they got out of the car. And as South Wales police tend to do, they're all like, "Hello, what are you doing walking around at this time of night?" It's quite friendly, like. And he's all like, "Yeah, fuck you, copper. Yeah, fuck, I fucking hate you, fucking
Manchester.
Pigs. Yeah, you fucking bastards. Oh, you pigs. Oh, you bastard pigs. Ah, you fucking." And the guy just pulled out a truncheon and just went. And just picked him up and just lobbed him in the van. And I thought, and then he had a horrible time after that.
Aye, but he did.
Yeah, they went to his house. They took his computer and everything. They looked through all of his porn images and stuff.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, so I just thought to myself, well, he shouldn't have done that, should he? Whenever the police come over to me, if I'm not doing anything wrong, I'll tell them what I'm doing. Why are you doing this? Oh, because I like wandering around late.
Looking at the orange street lamps.
I don't.
Watch out for that wall.
I just don't understand why people just don't tell the police what they're doing unless they're doing something massively wrong.
Yeah.
And the police around here are quite nice as well. Even if you stank of drugs, they'd still sort of be like, "Oh, we shouldn't do that here." You go, "Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. I was just walking from here to there."
What am I like?
Yeah, but they're all quite friendly.
Yeah,
apart from them two that arrested me on Christmas Day.
But they apologised.
They did. But I think they give me some excuse about how old cars drive around. That's why I told you why it was a Rover 214. They said that there'd been some sort of ram raid around the area, and people use old cars for ram raids, and I was driving with no lights, and then I mounted a curb to get round them, so they said that they thought that. I was just like, yep, that's perfectly understandable. I would arrest me. Look at my face. Right, sorry about that. I'm off then.
And whenever I'm like out in town on Wine Street, I like watching, because there's always coppers and there's always police people around, just making sure that no crime happens. And there's always at least one drunk person who thinks, I'll be the copper's friend, they'll like me, and they try and strike up conversation. I always worry that maybe if I ever speak to them, I'm going to be that annoying, overly friendly drunk that's just totally in their way, me, friend of the law, yeah.
No, so
I purposely try not to speak to them just because I don't want to end up in a conversation and be that overly friendly drunk
the
that
amount
thinks
of
that
photos that I see of women wearing policemen's hats in Wine Street is
it's
overwhelming.
Cringe. It's well cringe, isn't it?
Some guy tried to get in my car though, did I tell you that? We were playing somewhere on Wine Street and I pulled up in the Land Rover, so the door is screwed shut anyway, right? You can't get in the passenger door, yeah? And I pulled up, and then some guy, he was looking at me through the window, yeah? So I'm obviously not a taxi or something like that. There's no reason for him to think I'm pulling up in a fucking historic vehicle, yeah, right? It's not like I'm in a... Anyway, so he's standing at the passenger side as I pull up, and I look at him through the window, and he tries to motion me, he's pointing at the door, to open the door. I'm like, I fucking wouldn't open the door anyway, mate, apart from the fact that I physically can't open the door. And I got out of the car, and then he just sort of stood around me going, I need a lift home. I can't get in your car. I'm like, I know. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, can you let me in your car? I was like, no, I can't. He's like, because I really need to get home. And I was like, well, you should have thought about that before you got all drunk. And then, you have to get home. That's what happens at the end of the night. He's like, yeah, but I'm going where you're going. I said, well, where am I going? He goes, in that direction. I'm turning round, mate. I've got to go the other way. And he's
Sounds like you were going to get murdered.
It was just proper bizarre. And he didn't just stay there for a couple of minutes. He was there for ages, just hanging around my car, just hanging around. It was really bizarre. And because I'm not very good at fighting anyway, yeah, I always get a bit worried about that. I think, oh, fucking, if he does kick off, I'm not going to do so well in this. And then Andrew came out, and Andrew did his best Fred Perry man face with, the Fred Perry men. The Fred Perry men, they're all about 40, 45. They all wear Fred Perry.
Oh, right, okay.
They all look tidy.
Yeah.
And they all look exactly the same. Tidy, I've got some tidy jeans on, I've got my Fred Perry shirt on, I'm bald, we're all Fred Perry men. So he pulled his best Fred Perry men face, and he was all like, why don't you fuck off, and all this, yeah? And the guy was just looking at him, just like as if to say, well, what are you doing? I'm just trying to get into this car. I thought, this is too much for me. So I just had to load up, and the police were around us. I thought, that'll do. That'll be fine. But then after having seen the CCTV cameras just watching this man holding this woman, now on reflection, maybe not. Maybe they just watch and go, well, why don't you let him in your car? Fuck off. So,
just need a lift, mate.
so I don't know. But, yeah, odd stuff happens when you go out and play.
Yeah, because I always forget that when you go out and play, everybody around you's drunk and you're sober, so everything must seem a little bit weird.
It's just weird. Like the other day we played, and this was this guy, right? And we were playing in No Sign, and we were playing at the 6 o'clock slot. When you play 6 o'clock, you're in the middle of the pub, right? Mm. You're on that time. Remember when you came out to see us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing when Nadine came out. That was brilliant.
Let's save that for another time.
Nadine's the only person I know who's been kicked out while I've been playing. And even strangers I haven't really seen kicked out. So when somebody turns up and gets kicked out, that's an event. When they turn up and you know them really well and they get dragged out, you go, fuck, that's a bit weird. Anyway, so
tell us about your other story,
so
Robert.
we were playing in that little slot, and some guy came. It's not an amazing story. The guy came over and he stood right in front of us, so like a foot away, less than a foot away, and he just started dancing and pretending to play the accordion, and then he pulled out his phone and showed us showed us pictures of him playing the accordion, and he had one of them Irish apple faces, like they're round but they're red and they're really smiley, so it just made me think of Father Ted. So he was just standing in front of us, banging his leg up and down, pretending to play the accordion, smiling right in my face from a foot away as I was playing. I said, how would people deal with this? This is terrible. And it went on for ages as well, with his mate every now and then looking at me going, play Wipeout, I know you can do it, go on, try, go on, Wipeout, oh, you're good enough to play Wipeout, I reckon you could do it, go on, give it a go, have more confidence in yourself, play Wipeout. And she's going, we don't fucking play Wipeout, that's not a song we do. And that went on for ages.
Sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it was it was uncomfortable. It was only the fact that he looked like he was in Father Ted that made me think, this is alright. I'm liking his red apple face. What else has happened? Nothing. My Brexit film, that's going to be a good film if I make it, though.
What's it about? Don't just say Brexit. Like, is it a for Brexit or against Brexit?
No, it's like like Animal Farm is an analogy for the Russian Revolution.
What?
What? You know that? Yeah. It'd be the same kind of thing for Brexit, but involving children and people splitting up in like a relationship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you don't love somebody, you leave, don't you? Fuck how much you're gonna lose. You just go, that's it. I've had enough. Yeah, but who's gonna wash your socks? You're gonna lose loads. And Dad said we're gonna make loads of money when we get out of here. He said that it's all gonna happen. And who's gonna clean our rooms? What's gonna happen? You go, well, it might get worse, but at least I won't be living with this awful twat who keeps telling me what to do and has come up with loads of rules that have to be agreed upon by them and their bloody family, and I've got to be involved in the discussions as to what I'm going to do with my life. I sound like a leaver, don't I? I'm not. I'm either. Don't give a shit. Either way.
Well, you clearly do give a shit, otherwise you won't be writing a film about it.
It's just that it's so prominent and it's in my face all the time, and I'm constantly seeing friends of mine and they're putting up stuff on Facebook, and whether I agree with it or I don't agree with it, it's just the fact that they're putting it up, and they're putting it up in that smug way. And whenever anybody does anything smug, you want to beat them, don't you?
Even if you agree with it.
Yeah, you just go, what are you talking about? You don't know what's going to happen. Why are you putting all this stuff up as in well, I put all these memes up so when it happens I can say, I told you so, I knew, fuck off. So that's the frame of mind that I'm in. It's not that I am particularly into Leave or Remain. I voted Remain, so I would have made the decision then as to how it was going to go. It's just the fact that, they're all so bloody smug. You think, no, I'll make a film.
Are you actually going to make the film? Or are you just going to...
I'll probably plan it out, draw it out, storyboard it.
And then put it in a drawer and leave it.
Put
That's
it in
what
a
I
drawer
do
and
with
leave
all
it.
my
And then
plans.
watch some other fucker make it and make millions of pounds and go, "Ugh."
Told you so.
Yep, that's right. And I'll bring it out, and that'll be enough for me. Look, I made this film 4 years ago. Look at it.
Copyright it.
Yeah.
Make sure you get it copyright, and then you can maybe make some money from it.
I
And
put a bed together.
put a bed together.
Yeah, and all I did was, as I undid the screws, I walked around going, oh my leg, as I was moving it. And then I took the bed apart, and then I put the bed in the attic, and while I was carrying it up into the attic, it was, oh my leg. And then I came back down again, and then I made a double bed, and then the entire time I was, the screw,
Because of the pain in your leg.
Yeah, it's really painful.
Just in case nobody caught that at the beginning.
But once you've started doing that, you know, you've taken away one of your children's beds. Can't stop then, can you? You've got to finish these beds.
Yeah, that's true.
This is much harder than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be.
Oh
Lord, why does my leg hurt so much? Just whatever I do when I'm in pain.
Oh.
Yeah. Anything else happened? No, that's my entire week. There you go. That's what's happened.
Oh, we had to. Should we move on to our poetry section, which is new for this week, and probably for the one and only week?
I didn't write a poem. The only thing I've got is a small book of lyrics from like 2013, and when I read them, they're not very good. And I also think to myself, isn't it funny that I wrote these lyrics and I expected other people to sing them? That's the important part to remember when you're reading these lyrics. You think somebody else is going to have to sing this.
I can't wait. Welcome to Poetry Corner. This is Rob with old song lyrics.
Oh, we'll have to have a jingle.
Yeah.
Okay, right, we'll do that later. You can sing that.
Poems and rhymes and verses and stuff. Poetry Corner. That does not sound good. Well, mine was about an octopus. Shall I read it?
Yeah, read it.
All right. I forgot my beret. This is going to be shit. He wanted to
You've
be...
forgotten your beret. Why am I dressed as a Roman gladiator? I just did it to create the vibe.
Sorry, I'll come dressed as a mime next week. Whatever our specialist subject is next week. Anyway, this week it's octopuses. And we decided last week that we would write poems. I've wrote one. Rob hasn't bothered because he's shit. But here's my poem. Are you ready? Now, I'm not much of a poet.
Oh, you are.
Well, I am now. Are you ready? He wanted to be a big scary kraken, but legs he was a lacking, because Kevin only had 3, which isn't enough, you see. His tentacle count was lower than the other octopi, and they all made fun, and that made him cry. Where had his missing legs gone, and where would he get some new ones from? His mum didn't know, because she died making sure he and his family hatched safely, because that's what mums do, and he didn't know his dad, so he didn't have a clue. See, it's educational as well. So he decided to love himself and swim tall and proud and stand out, not blend into the crowd. He's Kevin the Octopus, and he is here to teach us that being the same is totally lame and standing out is something to shout about, and having 3 legs is ace.
I think that's really good.
It was fantastic. Kerry, when he was like, "Why are you writing a poem?" He wrote one, which is a completely different sort of vibe. And if I may, I'll share it with you, seeing as you didn't write one.
Okay, well, hang on. Let me read one of mine then.
All right, then, and then I'll do Kerry's.
This is the one that got in a book. It goes, "We ignited Jupiter and made a second sun, and a second kind of people began to grow and became the one. We viewed them silently for years as the small tribe grew and prospered. More like us than even we had been. We arrived as old imposters."
Ooh, I like that. That's good. That was in a book.
Yeah, they get worse, though.
Well, Kerry's poem wasn't as long as that. Shall I read it?
Yeah.
It's called An Ode to an Octopus. O you spectacular cephalopod, most clever of the mollusks, tragically short-lived demigod, just think what tricks you could do if only you lived a decade or two, changing colour, changing shape, for you 'tis but a jape, eight-armed trickster of the sea, kin of cuttlefish and squid, but no other can compare to thee. Alas, they are a-lacking, as cephalopods go, you have been outdid by you, the mighty kraken. See, he stole my kraken and lacking rhymes. He stole that from me.
It's good.
What, the cracking and lacking bit? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was better though, wasn't it?
See, mine would have taken a turn. Mine would have taken a turn and gone off into fracking.
You know what I said? I said on the way here.
And then it would start off as an octopus poem, then it would just go back into hating the government.
I said I hear that your poem about an octopus would probably be political in some way.
Look, here's another one, right? They're all the same kind of thing, right? Look,
I'm liking your poetry.
I'd rather starve than lick your ass, because it's better to live one day as a lion than eternity as a twat. So what do you think of that, you twat? I'd rather die 1,000 deaths. I'd rather hold 1,000 breaths. I'd rather fail 1,000 tests than do anything you say.
I love that. That's brilliant.
There's loads of them. And they're all in the same.
I think that might be my favourite poem ever. Like, not just today. I just mean, like, ever.
Well, there's books of them, Nadine. They're all about people telling me what to do and how they should cock off.
You should illustrate some of these and put them in a book.
I don't think so.
Why? It'd be brilliant for Christmas presents. I'll colour them in.
And there's little pictures of men with faces looking angry. Because it's Remembrance Sunday,
Yeah,
we do some facts.
I think we should.
Okay. It was first observed, Remembrance Day, was first observed in 1919 throughout the British Commonwealth, and it was originally called Armistice Day to celebrate the Armistice Agreement that ended the First World War on Monday, November the 11th at 1918 at 11 a.m. on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. on each Remembrance Sunday, a 2-minute silence is observed at war memorials and other public spaces across the UK. It came to symbolise the end of the war and provide an opportunity to remember those who had died. This practice stems from King George V's declaration on the 6th of November 1919 that people throughout the Commonwealth should suspend their normal activities so that in perfect stillness the thoughts of everyone may be concentrated on reverent remembrance of the glorious dead. The Flanders poppy was one of the first plants to go on the blood-soaked battlefields of France and Belgium. In 19th century English poetry, poppies often symbolised sleep or oblivion. After World War I, silk poppies were sold on Armistice Day with proceeds going to a charity for French children and the Returned Soldiers League.
Can I just input something here?
Yeah.
One thing that's really annoyed me this week, right?
Is it the white poppy?
No.
Oh.
It's, a lot of people, like crafty people, make things and sell them. Loads of people have been making and selling poppies, but, they're doing it as a craft project, and that money won't be going to any, they don't say, for every single one sold, all the profits will get donated or anything. They're just profiteering from people buying poppies. Like, oh, look, I crocheted this one, look how lovely that is. Yeah, it's a nice crocheted poppy. But surely, if you're doing that kind of stuff, you should be giving the profits away to a charity.
I didn't even know that was happening. That's terrible.
Loads of people are doing it.
I was annoyed by the white poppy.
What does the white poppy symbolise?
It's the people that are saying, "Oh, we're not feeling remorse of our dead. We're feeling remorse for all dead in the war." And I saw the little thing with Piers Morgan shouting at some guy saying, "So what? That's for the Nazis as well, is it? You feel bad for the Nazis in their war?" And I just thought, well, why would you do that? There's probably loads of people that have, but I don't really get it.
Yeah. I did read about purple poppies. Apparently they symbolise all the animals that died in the war.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the enemy's animals as well, or just ours, I don't know. They didn't specify. But I'll ask. If it's a thing next year, I'll ask. But yeah, crafty people making poppies to sell for profit, I thought was just really disgusting.
That's a double meaning, isn't it, crafty people?
Oh yeah, the crafty uncrafty. I just thought that was awful. Also, I hadn't thought about it. I'm joking, of course, but yeah, I just thought that was really, really, really awful. So if you're a crafty person and you sell crafty stuff on Facebook and stuff, that's great, good for you. But stop profiteering. Unless you're going to give the money away to charity, don't do it, because it's just disgusting.
I saw a video,
and you're disgusting.
I saw a video of a woman on Facebook robbing a poppy jar. I had a friend, though, right, saying that, who was really pissed one day, and he went into Clinic Fish Bar, and he
stole the charity thing.
He tried to steal the charity thing, right? So he was standing there, and he just being quiet and that, and then he made a leap for this charity box, grabbed it, ran, and it was on the end of a chain. And he only got so far, it popped back into the air, and he was left on the floor with people on top of him.
Well, that is just highly embarrassing.
Yeah, it's good. Fuck him. He also stole the child's bike and rode all the way home.
This friend of yours sounds like a right twat.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want? Have you finished with your
Yeah.
war
Where
facts?
are your octopus facts?
Right, octopus. Ooh, right. So we're moving on to our specialist subject of the week, which is octopus. They don't have bones except for a beak.
They've got a beak.
Yeah, if you open up all their legs, which are actually arms, there's like a little bony beak. It's a mouth, and they use that for like eating and stuff. But because they've got no other bones, if they can fit that beak through something, they can fit through it too.
That's pretty good. I saw an octopus trying to escape a ship. Did you see that video?
That tiny little hole that
Yeah.
wasn't even a hole, and it got through, and it just sort of
That was good.
yeah, because it put its beak through. Yeah, I can get through this, and it did. So that's kind of amazing. They have 8 you know what the difference is between squid and octopus?
No.
Squid have 8 arms that are arranged in pairs and 2 tentacles, which are normally a little bit longer. So that's like the main difference. There are 300 recognised species of octopus. They have 3 hearts and blue blood. And I don't mean that in like the royal sense, like it's literally blue. You know, like those horrible things that look like giant pill bugs. They call them pill bugs in America. What do they call them over here?
Oh, no.
Wood lice.
Right.
You know those things under the sea that look like giant wood lice? I can't remember what they're called. They've got blue blood as well. I don't know why would blood be blue? I'm going to look into that for next week as well. Why?
Yeah. Find out if lizards have got blue blood.
Lizards.
Maybe that would tie into David Icke's thing and the royals being blue-blooded lizards.
I don't think there's any lizards with blue blood, but I'll look into it.
I love that idea of the royal family being lizards. I don't believe it or anything, but I just like the idea that somebody else has said, hey, the royal family, they're all lizards. Oh, really?
And some people are going, oh, that makes sense. They eat their own arms when they get bored. So, like, if they get really bored, rather
Who, the
than
royal family? Nutters.
No. Yeah, they all used to have 8, and now they've all just stuck with 4. No, so if you've got like an octopus and it gets really bored, for
How
shits
can you
and
tell
giggles,
if it's bored?
well, it's eating its arms with its beak. Yeah, so if they get bored, they'll eat their arms just because they're fucking bored. How bored would you? I mean, I've been pretty bored in work before now, but you know what I do? I doodle and I draw. I wouldn't eat an arm. That's some next level boredom, that is, isn't it?
Well, it depends if you knew if it would grow back or not.
Do they grow back?
I can't imagine them eating all their arms and then just being armless, just out of boredom. Just sort of
Maybe that's how maybe that's what a starfish is. It's an octopus that ate all its arms, and then they're just slowly growing back. And just be a fucking starfish. But if you watch that starfish for long enough, it just turns back into an octopus. And they can use tools as well, which is amazing because there's not that many animals that will use a tool. Obviously, there are a lot of chimps and apes that use tools, and crows are known for tool usage.
I've
and
seen
us.
that crow tool usage
It's
thing.
amazing, isn't it? I love crows. But yeah, they use tools. They can, you know, those child-safe like medicine bottles and stuff. They can open them. They can open them. How amazing is that? So they're more intelligent or stronger at least than a child. They have they've got venom. They've got all of them. It's believed that all of them have a venom inside them, which is created by some bacteria. But it's not enough to harm a person, except if you're a blue-ringed octopus, in which case, if you get bitten by a blue-ringed octopus, which are tiny, you can be paralysed within minutes. Have you never been on TV?
No.
I've been
In
on
actual
TV
fact,
a few times.
when I joined my primary school, because I used to go to loads of different primary schools, I arrived 2 weeks after they had all been on Top of the Pops.
Oh,
Although I
good.
suppose in hindsight, lucky.
Why?
'Cause,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You might have got Jimmy Savile.
that's right.
Don't want to be Jimmy Savile.
No, innit?
I always wanted to go on that one with Rolf Harris. You know, the children's TV
Well, you're lucky
television
you
work.
didn't.
Yeah. Because I was pretty fit when I were a kid. He'd have been well on me.
With his wobble board. You have horrible memories.
But they got to go on and make. They got to do like animations and stuff. And I said,
Yeah,
oh, that
I remember
looks
it
so
was
cool.
Rolf's Cartoon Club.
That was
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
Rolf's Cartoon Club. I loved it.
So
I wanted to
bizarre.
go on that when I was a kid.
Why? When were you on TV then?
Do you remember Diane Mordell? She was an athlete. She was also on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here one year. I don't watch it, but she was on that, so maybe most people remember her from that. But she was an athlete, and she was doing her race to qualify for the Olympics, like her official one, and it just happened to be a race that I was in as well. And she had pacers I think it was 800 meters, so she had pacers for each one. But it was being done during. You'd think that they would do it as a special thing, but she just raced with all these amateurs, me included. I mean, she completely wiped the floor with all of us, obviously. And but they were filming it for TV. You know, there was a reporter there and everything. You could see me running behind her. Down the track.
What else have you been on TV?
I can't remember, but I know I've been on a few. Oh, I was on BBC's Children's Hospital. It was on years and years ago, where they basically just filmed what was going on in a hospital. And my little brother had gone for his annual checkup at the Sheffield Children's Hospital, I think it was called, the series. And we were being interviewed about Aaron and his being a dwarf. And me and my sister were sat there. Just sat there while they were talking to us about Aaron being a dwarf. They sent us a Christmas card that year as well. Yeah, Christmas card off the BBC. I'm sure there's been one or two other times where I've been in the background of stuff, but I can't think off the top of my head. You know, we'll be listening to this later, and Kerry will go, remember that time you were on TV, you were interviewed about, oh, I can't believe I forgot about that amazing time.
I don't think I've ever been on TV. No, I'm proper bummed out now.
Oh, let's get you on TV, shall we?
No, let's apply for game shows and get some money.
All right then.
That's what we should do.
I did apply for catchphrase once. If anyone's listening that can get us onto game shows without having to, go through the hassle of applying, awesome, please do. I want to go on catchphrase because I'm the best at catchphrase, and the world needs to see me on catchphrase.
Might end up like Richard Herring though.
Which mean
going on to game shows and just failing.
Not if it's catchphrase. Any other game show, yeah, I'd probably would fail. Because if I was on that one with the boxes, Deal or No Deal?
Deal or No Deal.
I'd probably just No Deal,
that
No
seems
Deal,
like the
no
easiest.
Deal.
I'd totally buy into that for them as well, so that they'd put me on the telly. He'd come over with his Richard Branson face on, because he knows what's going to happen. And he'd be standing there and he'd be going, well, how do you feel about this box? And I'd be like, oh, I'm really positive about this box. I've got a really positive vibe. I can feel it. There's £100,000 in this box. Oh, yeah. And then he'd be like, wow.
He wouldn't let a fiver. But as long as you're prepared to go home with a penny, just fucking risk it. You've got a 1 in 20... Is it 22 boxes?
I don't know. It just seems like such an easy way to make such a massive amount of money.
And if you've got a good box.
Yeah, it's only the stupid people that seem to go on it, and all the other people just sit at home going, well,
you don't need to be... If your plan is, I'm just going to assume or hope that what's in this box is a good amount of money, because it's not like £250,000 or nothing. There's other amounts there that are pretty tidy. You just got to hope that you've got one of those good boxes.
Yeah, we should
and
try
just
to
go for it.
We should
just
try
go
to
for
go
it.
on Deal or No Deal. That's the one.
But
for
I
money,
don't really want to be on TV with Noel fucking Edmonds.
They don't do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire anymore.
Yeah,
so
they do.
No, they don't. I don't
There's
think
a new series with the guy who used to host the thing with the cars. You know that one that everyone hates? Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, is it? I like Jeremy Clarkson.
I haven't seen it because I don't watch telly, but yeah, he does a new series. Unless it's already finished and they're not doing it again, but yeah.
Oh yeah, we should. Well, let's apply for that. Anyway, it's been ages now. I have to edit all the rubbish out of this.
Yeah.
It'll take ages, so I probably won't be able to do it tonight. I'll try and do it by Friday. Maybe we'll try and get Fridays as
our new release date. So next week, we haven't decided on the subject yet, but it's Rob's turn to choose, so let me know as soon as you can. And we'll see you all next week for some more waffle. Thanks for listening.
See you later.
Bye.